if I told you 4 kids from frozen Nova Scotia showed up in Montreal with barely $100 and a misunderstood letter, and somehow went on to sell over 20 million records worldwide? Their music video hit MTV before Madonna. The Rolling Stones once used them as a decoy for a secret club show, and yet their leader would eventually flee to the Bahamas while alcohol nearly took his life. This is not just a success story. This is the rise and the slow, painful fall of April Wine. Waverly, Nova Scotia, late 1960s. If you wanted to make it in rock and roll, this was about the worst place on earth to start. No record labels, no industry connections, no fast track to fame. Just the icy Atlantic coast, and a dream that maybe, just maybe, a group of Canadian kids could break through. David Henman on guitar, his brother Richie on drums, their cousin Jim on bass. In 1969, they formed the core of what would become April Wine. But they knew something was missing. They needed a frontman, a songwriter, someone who could lead. They found him in Myles Goodwyn, a guitarist and vocalist from New Brunswick. Goodwyn brought discipline, ambition, and most importantly, a songwriter's instinct that would shape everything. Before we continue, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more classic rock stories. The name April Wine had no deep meaning, no philosophy behind it. They just liked how the words sounded together. But their commitment was radical. At a time when most Canadian bands survived by playing cover songs at school dances, April Wine made one dangerous decision. They would play only original music. It nearly destroyed them before they even began. By early 1970, reality set in. Nova Scotia couldn't sustain their dream. So they sent a demo tape to Aquarius Records in Montreal. The reply was polite and vague. "If you're ever in town, we'd be happy to meet." The band took that as an invitation. In April 1970, they arrived in Montreal unannounced, with their instruments and roughly $100 between them. The label executives were stunned, but the audacity worked. April Wine was signed. What followed was brutal. 5 straight months touring Eastern Canada, small clubs, university halls, sleeping in vans, loading their own gear, snowstorms, broken amps, endless highways. This wasn't rock stardom. This was survival. Their debut album arrived in 1971. The single, Fast Train, cracked the Canadian Top 40. Not fame, not glory, but survival. On July 30th, 1971, they opened for the Guess Who. For the first time, they stood on a stage and saw a crowd that actually knew their name. The dream felt real, but nothing lasts. Later that year, bassist Jim Henman left the band to return to university. Stability won over uncertainty. He was replaced by Jim Clench, whose aggressive bass style pushed the band forward. In 1972, everything changed. Their second album, On Record, produced 2 massive hits, a cover of Elton John's Bad Side of the Moon and Hot Chocolate's You Could Have Been a Lady. The song reached number 2 in Canada and crossed into the US charts. For a band from rural Nova Scotia, this was proof that the impossible was possible. But success brought tension. During the recording of Electric Jewels in 1973, the Henman brothers quit. Creative control had shifted. Myles Goodwyn was becoming the center. The replacements changed everything. Drummer Jerry Mercer, guitarist Gary Moffat. April Wine evolved from a struggling bar band into a legitimate arena force. By 1975, they dominated Canada. Stand Back became the first Canadian album to sell over 100,000 copies domestically. Their live shows exploded with spectacle. Lights, fire bells, energy. In 1976, The Whole World's Going Crazy went platinum on advance orders alone. They were everywhere. Radio, posters, sold-out arenas, but the machine was grinding them down. The turning point came in 1977, a charity gig in Toronto that wasn't what it seemed. The Rolling Stones were secretly performing under the name The Cockroaches. Fans thought they were seeing April Wine. Instead, they witnessed rock history. April Wine opened the show, and suddenly they had credibility on a global level. US tours followed, opening for the Stones, Styx, Rush, Journey. They added a third guitarist, Brian Greenway. The three-guitar attack became their signature. In 1978, First Glance went gold in the US. The song Roller found massive success in America's blue-collar cities. Then came Harder Faster in 1979. I Like to Rock, Say Hello, arena anthems. April Wine spent 40 weeks on the Billboard album chart. They were unstoppable. Until the cost became unbearable. Myles Goodwyn carried everything. Writing, producing, leading. By 1981, The Nature of the Beast sold over 1 million copies in the US. The power ballad, Just Between You and Me, hit the Billboard Top 25. Just between you and me, baby. And on August 1st, 1981, MTV launched. April Wine became the first Canadian band ever played on MTV. Before Madonna, before Thriller. But success became a trap. Touring never stopped. Pressure never eased. Goodwyn later said the joy was gone. In search of escape, he moved to the Bahamas. Distance grew. Tension hardened. By 1984, the band announced their farewell tour. The final show took place on July 31st. April Wine was over. The years after were quiet. Until 1992, the band reunited, expecting a short run. Instead, sold-out shows. The legacy survived, but the damage remained. Alcohol nearly killed Myles Goodwyn. In 2008, internal bleeding almost ended his life. Sobriety followed. Honesty followed. In 2016, his memoir, Just Between You and Me, revealed the real price of success. Health issues eventually forced retirement. On December 3, 2023, Myles Goodwyn passed away at 75. Today, April Wine's music still plays. Not as nostalgia, but as proof that 4 kids from nowhere could conquer arenas. That success can lift you and break you. The songs remain. The legacy endures. What's your memory of April Wine? Drop it in the comments. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more classic rock stories.